Hi everybody, my name is Stacy Webster and welcome to Back to School Night with English 2. I am one of the 2 English teachers that teach 10th grade in the Academy for Global Studies, and I'm so glad that you're here for Back to School Night. I thought I would start us off in the classroom so you can see what our English 2 classroom looks like. It's a little different now because it doesn't have very much furniture and we've got a few things marked off with caution tape, but hopefully we'll be back in this space soon and learning together whenever it is safe to do so. So a little bit about me. I've been teaching at Austin High for a long time. I'm starting my 27th year as a teacher. I graduated from the University of Texas at Austin, and then I have a master's degree in curriculum and instruction from Texas State University. I'm married to a teacher, and we have 2 kids. Our 7th grader is a little bit of a feral cat right now. He's kind of raising himself. And then we also have a sophomore who goes to Austin High. So I'm right there with you. We are simpatico. If your teenagers are kind of struggling through this whole pandemic style of learning, I get it. It is really a struggle to be on Zoom and to try to make connections and build community when we have this screen between us. But I feel confident we're going to make it through together. So let me give you a warm-up that I gave to your students last week. It is this. If you added up all of the citizens of the United States and all of the citizens of the United Kingdom together, what percentage of the total world population would that make? Your students' answers ranged anywhere from 1% up to 50%. So what's your answer? Feel like Dora the Explorer, like waiting for an answer? So the most common answer last week was 20%. And the actual answer is 5.1%. And yet, so much of the literature that we read and study in high school is American or British lit. And that makes sense because it's in English and we're in an English class. But the state of Texas says that there's one year where we really should be focusing on world literature. And this is it. Welcome to your 10th grade year. So all students at Austin High will be reading World Lit this year, and AGS students in particular will get some World Lit choices spread throughout their 9 through 12 experience. So that means that some of the things that we read this year were not originally written in English. They were written in Sanskrit or German or French. We read stories from places like Afghanistan, India, Nigeria, and so there are definitely different perspectives and sometimes a challenge in understanding how the author crafted that message. Some kids really enjoy the literature this year because it's so different, but for others there's a little bit of a learning curve because it's so different. I do think that when I go to Back to School Night, and I go to English classes, I always want to get the list of books so that I can go onto Amazon and order them all right off the bat. So I will give you a list on Blend of the books that we are all going to be reading. We'll all be reading A Thousand Splendid Suns. We're all going to read a book called A Small Place by Jamaica Kincaid. But most of the units that we read, we actually like to give your students choice in what they read. So I will give you 2 to 3 weeks notice every time we're starting a new unit where the kids have choice over what they're going to read, and I'll give you recommendations. So here are some recommended Latin American novels, or here are some recommended world tour novels, but then kids will be able to pick what they're really drawn to, because we really focus this year a lot on voice and power. We really want to give students voice and choice in what they read as well. So now we are looking at the Blend page. I will show you a couple of ways to find activities that we have posted online and where students turn in their work, and kind of what the Blend experience is like in English too. So if your student is in grade level, 3rd period, they will have a tile that looks like this little guy reading a dog. My pre-AP students, the tile looks like this one, and they're very similar. I'll just click on this one to show you guys what the buttons look like. All courses now at Austin High have these same icons, and students can click here to join into the Zoom lesson, which we really want them to be at all of our Zoom classes because that's where we're giving instruction, helping out students when they're trying to understand what to do with an activity, and that is the place where we can actually have conversations and collaborations and have a little human interaction. But the main button that kids click on every day to see what we're going to do for the day is this orange one that says Course Modules. And for a lot of teachers, if they click on module, it goes right here to an actual module view. And some students really like that very organized list of like, here's what I'm doing for this block, and here's where the block ends. In this class, when they click on modules, it actually shows them the class calendar. So they can see that on the left-hand side, these are the things that we're going to work on together during our synchronous time. And everything's hyperlinked so they can get right to the writing workout activity or into the activities that we're going to do later on in the class period. And then on the right-hand side, that's what they do during their asynchronous time. Often have reminders here about what is due, DUE, and what they need to do, DO, for that particular day. We also have a really short one-question survey where they let me know what was the most helpful thing that they did during the synchronous class. If students miss a class time, they can just scroll down and I have the entire agenda up here. But if kids ever have a problem finding, like, where is that assignment? I don't know where to turn it in. There's also just a word in the blue toolbars over here that says assignments, and they can click right there. And then they will see a list of assignments that have been turned in. They'll also see a list of discussion board questions that we've had so far this year. So again, it's all linked within the agenda, but if they were ever searching for something, these are great lists of places where they can go to get that info. Finally, on the homepage, there is a help button that lists office hours and other answers to frequently asked questions. So I encourage students to look there. And then for you guys, for our family members, there is a link for tips for remote learning and tips for struggling students. And I'd love it if you could take a little bit of time to read through those because I'm talking too fast and trying to get too much into this video, but those will give you a little bit more insight about what would be really helpful in this remote learning environment. And I'd say that one of the most helpful things right now would be encouraging your students to be cameras on as much as possible. We did anticipate that we would have some issues with cameras not working or some students who have really high anxieties about being on camera. But what we're finding is that a lot of our students are choosing to go cameras off, and then they're often walking away during a lesson or maybe taking a little walk about the house, and they're missing instruction and they're not quite sure, of things that we just said because their camera's off. And then we call out to them like we're hosting a seance and try to bring them back into us. So I have one more tip for you guys because I am a parent. So I'm going to switch over really quickly to my parent page. And if you are getting too many emails and too many notifications from Blend about like a teacher made a comment on this and it was at 3 a.m. because that's when teachers are up doing their jobs. You can click right here on the little picture on your Blend page and then click on notifications. And then you can go and turn on or off any of the notifications that you want to get and turn off all the ones that you don't want to get. Just trying to keep your inbox a little cleaner for you. And it was really nice to meet you in this virtual environment. I hope you'll reach out with an email and we're here to help. So bye guys.